Ever wondered why your approach to women might not be working? Maybe you've been approaching the whole situation with a misconception. It's a common misunderstanding that the art of approaching women is about using certain techniques or rehearsed lines. However, this is far from the truth. Consider this. The very term approaching women carries a certain connotation. It suggests a strategy, a game plan, like you're preparing to invade enemy territory. And that's where the problem lies. It's not about invasion, it's about invitation. It's not about conquest, it's about conversation. Many believe that success lies in achieving a specific outcome, be it getting a phone number, securing a date, or winning over a heart. This mindset, however, is fundamentally flawed. The focus on a predetermined endgame puts undue pressure on the interaction, turning it into a transaction rather than a genuine exchange. Imagine going into a conversation with the sole aim of selling a product. Every word you utter, every gesture you make, is geared towards making that sale. Now shift this scenario to a social setting. The product is yourself, and the buyer is the woman you're interested in. The pressure to sell yourself is palpable, and more often than not, off-putting. Instead, the focus should be on having a genuine conversation, building a connection, and fostering a sense of mutual respect and understanding. This takes the pressure off, making the interaction more relaxed, more natural, and ultimately more successful. So let's shift the mindset. Instead of approaching women, think of it as engaging in conversation. After all, women, like men, are individuals with their own thoughts, feelings, and experiences. They are not prizes to be won or objectives to be achieved. They are people to connect with, to learn from, and to grow with. Remember, the goal is not to win a woman over, but to build a connection. After all, the best relationships are built on solid foundations of mutual respect, understanding, and genuine connection. The first mistake many men make is approaching women with a clear agenda. It's a common pitfall, and one that can quickly derail an otherwise promising interaction. You see, when a man walks up to a woman with a predetermined outcome in mind, it instantly puts unnecessary pressure on the conversation. This pressure is not just felt by the man, but also by the woman he's engaging with. And let's be real, who enjoys having a conversation that feels like a high-stakes poker game? This agenda-driven approach often leads to conversations that feel forced and unnatural. It's like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. You're so focused on steering the conversation towards your desired outcome that you forget to actually listen and engage with what the other person is saying. A conversation is not a chess game, where you're always thinking 3 moves ahead. It's a dance, where you move and flow with your partner, reacting to their rhythm and pace. When you approach a conversation with an agenda, you're essentially trying to lead a dance without paying attention to your partner's movements. It's awkward, it's clumsy, and it's not going to end well. So, what's the alternative? How can you avoid falling into this common trap? The answer is surprisingly simple. Focus on enjoying the conversation for its own sake. Instead of seeing the interaction as a means to an end, view it as an end in itself. Take pleasure in the exchange of ideas, the sharing of experiences, and the connection being formed. This approach, known as being outcome independent, can completely transform your interactions. It removes the pressure, it allows the conversation to flow naturally, and it puts the focus back where it should be, on the person you're talking to. Remember, a conversation is not a battlefield, it's a playground. It's a place to explore, to learn, and to connect. When you approach it with this mindset, you'll find that your conversations are more relaxed, more engaging, and more enjoyable for both you and the person you're talking to. So, the next time you find yourself walking up to a woman, remember to leave your agenda at the door. Engage with her, listen to her, and let the conversation flow naturally. You'll be surprised at how much more rewarding your interactions can be. When you drop the agenda, you let the conversation flow naturally. The second mistake is disregarding the other person's feelings or consent. Often, in the pursuit of connection or romance, there's a tendency to overlook the feelings and consent of the other person. This is a significant misstep because it can lead to discomfort, resentment, or worse. It's crucial to remember that everyone has their own comfort zone and personal boundaries that deserve to be respected. Now let's make this clear. Consent isn't just about physical interactions. It extends to conversations as well. For example, if someone doesn't want to talk about a particular subject or would rather not share personal details, it's important to respect that decision. Ignoring these cues or pushing someone out of their comfort zone isn't just disrespectful, it's counterproductive. It compromises trust and makes genuine connection impossible. Moreover, not every interaction needs to be steered towards romance or dating. Sometimes, the best interactions are those where there's no hidden agenda, just two individuals sharing a moment. This mindset not only takes the pressure off, but also allows for more authentic and meaningful conversations. There's a misconception that showing interest equates to pursuing romance immediately. But showing interest could be as simple as genuinely wanting to know and understand the other person. This doesn't mean you're aiming for a romantic relationship. It means you're respecting them as a person and valuing the interaction for what it is. The key here is empathy. By putting ourselves in the other person's shoes, we can better understand their feelings and responses. It's about recognizing and respecting the other person's autonomy and individuality. It's about creating an environment where everyone feels safe and comfortable expressing themselves. So the next time you're engaging in a conversation, remember to be mindful of the other person's feelings and consent. Be aware of their comfort zone, respect their boundaries, and let the conversation flow naturally without forcing it towards a specific direction. Respecting boundaries and feelings is key to a successful interaction. The third mistake is not focusing on having a genuine conversation. Let's delve into this. Many times men approach conversations as if they were a game, a test they need to pass, or a performance they need to ace. They believe they need to say the right things, make the right jokes, or show off the right aspects of their life to win over a woman. But here's the thing, this mindset can often backfire. Imagine being on the receiving end of such a conversation. It's like listening to a rehearsed monologue rather than engaging in a dialogue. There's an absence of authenticity, a lack of real connection. It's not a conversation, it's a performance. And performances, they can be seen through. So, what's the alternative? Genuine conversation. Genuine conversation is about connecting on a human level. It's about sharing, listening, and understanding. It's about finding common ground, discovering differences, and exploring ideas together. It's less about impressing and more about expressing. It's less about winning and more about understanding. When you engage in genuine conversation, you're not just talking to a woman. You're connecting with a person. You're not just trying to impress, you're trying to understand. You're not just playing a game, you're building a connection. And guess what? People appreciate authenticity. They appreciate being seen and heard for who they are, not just as a prize to be won or a goal to be achieved. They appreciate genuine interest and engagement. So remember, when you approach a conversation, don't treat it as a performance. Don't see it as a test that you need to pass or a game that you need to win. See it as an opportunity to connect, to understand, and to build a genuine relationship. Focus on having a genuine conversation, not on impressing her. To summarize, here are the common mistakes and their solutions. The first mistake that we often see is approaching with an agenda. This might be the most prevalent mistake, and it's one that can create tension and discomfort right off the bat. Instead of going into a conversation with a set outcome in mind, it's far more fruitful to enjoy the conversation for its own sake. Connect with the person you're talking to, listen to what they have to say, and let the conversation flow naturally. This encourages a relaxed and authentic interaction. The second mistake is disregarding feelings and consent. It's crucial to remember that every person you interact with has their own feelings, thoughts, and boundaries. Ignoring these aspects can lead to uncomfortable situations and can even be harmful. The solution here is quite simple. Respect the other person's boundaries and feelings. Understand that not every interaction will lead to romance or dating, and that's perfectly okay. The third and last mistake we discussed is the lack of genuine conversation. This often happens when the focus is solely on approaching rather than truly connecting with the person. It's important to remember that a conversation is a two-way street. It's not just about you expressing your thoughts and feelings, but also about understanding and valuing the other person's perspective. So instead of focusing on approaching, focus on having genuine conversations and building connections. In conclusion, it's not about perfecting a technique or following a script. It's about being genuine, respectful, and understanding. It's about enjoying the conversation and the connection, not just the potential outcome. Remember, the key to a successful approach is respect, genuine conversation, and enjoying the interaction for its own sake.